Jacqueline, you've turned Ann Summers' brand into, I mean, it's got the same level of brand recognition as Nike has over here in the UK. So tell us about how to build a brand that's got the same, or has the same type of traction or success that you've enjoyed so far.
I think the key to our success in terms of brand recognition has been, when we go back to courage, it's about pushing those boundaries, and we're not afraid to push the boundaries. And by pushing those boundaries, not too much so that you shock people,
Sure.
but enough that you set yourself apart from your competition and from everybody else, in our case on the high street, you become interesting. You make yourself interesting. You've got a point of difference. And I would say there's nothing like Ann Summers in the UK. And so people want to talk about you.
Yeah. And embracing controversy is something you haven't shied away from, because again, it gives you something to talk about. But that strategy has worked well for you?
Yeah, by accident, actually, because initially, I embraced...
controversy yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been arrested a couple of times, and that wasn't because I wanted the publicity, I can assure you. It was because I really had a strong belief about Ann Summers and the whole concept. And I was frustrated and that, not everybody understood what I was trying to achieve. And then slowly I realised that, actually that was part of who we were. And do you know what? I don't want to be acceptable to everybody. If I was acceptable to everybody, or the brand was acceptable to everybody, we wouldn't be any different. That is what our USP is. I don't want to be competing with Marks and Spencers or La Senza or... we are unique, and that's where we need to stay.
You can't be everything to everybody. In fact, Steve Jobs, I understand, at some point may have received, or you were on his radar because of the Eyegasm, and I know that may have been quite PRable. But tell us about the Eyegasm and how that got onto Steve Jobs' radar.
Yes, the Eyegasm actually was a love egg, a vibrating love egg that you plug into the iPod, and it vibrates in time to the music. So it was a great idea. Yeah. And yes, we upset them because we used the word Eyegasm, and also because we used the imagery, or similar imagery, to the iPod. It was a shame, really, because I think this was a great opportunity for us to get together and maybe come up with the 20 most sexiest songs and do something together. But their lawyers didn't see it in such in the same spirit as we did.
No. And according to my research, and it may be an urban myth, but in true Ann Summers comedy, light-hearted manner, somebody sent some Eyegasms over to the board and said...
Absolutely. And yes, we've sent a few people a few things.
To get a smile back on your face.
Well, that's what you hope.
Absolutely. If we can talk about, you mentioned earlier about competition and that you are unique, and you certainly are, but obviously other companies have tried to ride with the trend of liberalisation of sex and on the high streets, etc. Asian Provocateur, etc. Those type of companies. So what do you believe is key in remaining competitive, both for yourself and also for other founders of companies that just want to make sure that they're number one in the marketplace?
First of all, USP. I mean, it's one of the keys to our success. You don't want to be copying anybody else. You've got to be unique yourself. You've got to have something that sets you aside from your competition, whether it's a great service, fantastic value for money, fantastic product. You've got to identify what makes you different. Being innovative, being first to market with your new ideas. You should be doing this in any climate, to be honest. Yeah. But those would be my key tips. You
talk about innovation. I totally agree with you. On Leaders in Business, we have a whole channel dedicated to innovation and ideation. So how do you go about doing that in Ann Summers, in terms of coming up with new ideas? For example, you send your people, I think, to the tills quite frequently to get ideas from customers, potentially.
Yes. I mean, we get obviously feedback from our customers. We have pleasure experts in our stores who certainly give us good feedback from customers. And then it's about working with the suppliers. You build up good relationships with your suppliers. They understand what you're trying to achieve. And then it's about coming up with something that nobody else has thought of.
Yeah, easy for Jacqueline Gold, maybe a little bit more of a challenge for everybody else. But where does Jacqueline Gold want to be in 10 years' time? What do you want to be doing? And then also, what do you want your brands and Summers and Knickerbockers to be doing or looking like in 10 years' time? Putting the futuristic hat on for a second.
Oh, I'd like to, 10 years' time, I'd like to be standing up at some conference, big conference or convention in the US, talking about our fabulous new stores. You know, as part of the research that we did last year, we looked at overseas expansion, international expansion, and that's something I'm really excited about. The timing has to be right, and we have to do, you know, more research within the individual countries, but certainly the US would be a good a location for us, as indeed some countries in Europe. But I think Ann Summers is ready for world domination.
Absolutely. We're going to enjoy, we'll interview you in 10 years' time in perhaps New York, San Francisco,
Fantastic.
Tahiti, any of your other global stores. And Jacqueline Gold, in 10 years' time, you'll sort of be living in the UK?
I think I definitely will be living in the UK because I'm a home girl at heart and I want to be near my family and my roots. But my heart will be as much in Ann Summers as it is today and as it was when I started.
Excellent. Jacqueline Gold, I just want to say on behalf of all of our viewers, thank you so much for your time today. I personally really enjoyed it. A lot of wisdom that you shared with us, so thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.